Welcome back to Global Defense Zone, the channel where we bring you the most detailed, in-depth, and high-value insights into the world of modern warfare, military technology, and global defense strategies. And in today's special episode, we are diving deep into one of the most secretive yet increasingly powerful missile programs of Asia, the South Korean Hyunmoo Missile Series. A program that has transformed South Korea from a vulnerable state surrounded by threats into a formidable power that poses a significant deterrent against North Korea, China, and even regional adversaries. So sit tight, like this video, subscribe to Global Defense Zone, and share it with your friends, because what we are about to uncover is a massive story of technology, strategy, cost, budget, maintenance, and the future of warfare. The Hyunmoo missile family, whose name literally translates to Black Tortoise from Korean mythology representing the guardian of the North, is a series of ballistic and cruise missiles that South Korea has developed over decades with the help of its own technology, American assistance in the early years, and quiet cooperation with advanced industrial partners. And the story of this missile system begins back in the 1970s and 1980s when South Korea faced a relentless threat from North Korea, a country that was building up its own Scud missiles and even experimenting with nuclear ambitions, leaving Seoul in a dangerously exposed position. And because of the restrictions imposed by the United States under the missile guidelines that limited the range and payload of South Korea's missile systems, the country had to start small, which led to the birth of Hyunmoo-1 in the late 1980s, a short-range ballistic missile derived from the Nike Hercules surface-to-air missile converted into a surface-to-surface role, giving South Korea for the first time a domestically produced ballistic missile capability with a range of about 180 kilometers and a warhead weight of around 500 kilograms. But as the North Korean threat grew with Scud-B, Scud-C, and Nodong missiles that could reach deep into South Korean territory, Seoul knew it had to evolve and pour billions into research, testing, and production. Thus the Hyunmoo-2 series was born, representing a huge leap in range, accuracy, and destructive power. The Hyunmoo-2A came first with a range of 300 kilometers, followed by the 2B with 500 kilometers, and then the 2C, which extended its strike capability to 800 kilometers, meaning that South Korea could not only target every single strategic site inside North Korea, including underground bunkers, missile bases, and command centers, but also project power into parts of China and potentially Russia if needed, which completely altered the regional balance of power. Now let's talk about cost, because missile development is never cheap, and South Korea invested heavily, with estimates suggesting that the overall Hyunmoo program across multiple decades has cost in the range of tens of billions of dollars, with the Hyunmoo-2 series alone consuming around $2 to $3 billion in research and development, testing facilities, and deployment. While each missile unit can cost several $million depending on the variant, and maintenance itself is a huge undertaking, as ballistic missiles require constant inspection, replacement of propellant, and modernization of guidance systems, which costs hundreds of millions every year. But South Korea has considered this investment essential for survival. Then came the Hyunmoo-3 series, South Korea's answer to the American Tomahawk, a long-range cruise missile family with ranges of 500, 1,000, and up to 1,500 kilometers, giving South Korea a precision strike capability that is extremely accurate, able to fly at low altitudes, evade radar, and hit targets with pinpoint accuracy, making it a true strategic deterrent. And each of these cruise missiles reportedly costs between $2 and $4 million per unit, with an R&D budget of billions more spread over years. Yet South Korea accepted these costs because it gave them the ability to strike not only within North Korea but also across East Asia, a message to Beijing and Pyongyang that Seoul could retaliate in devastating fashion. The crown jewel of the program, however, is the Hyunmoo-4, unveiled in 2020, a missile with an 800-kilometer range but the ability to carry a massive 2-ton warhead, making it a true bunker buster specifically designed to penetrate North Korea's deeply buried missile silos, nuclear facilities, and command bunkers. And analysts estimate that the development of Hyunmoo-4 cost South Korea billions more in secret budgets, with the missile itself costing upwards of $5 to $7 million per unit. But more importantly, the maintenance of such heavy missiles requires specialized storage, transport, and testing, which adds tens of millions annually to the defense budget. Yet Seoul has spared no expense because Hyunmoo 4 is a game-changer that makes North Korea's strategy of hiding assets underground far less effective. Even more secretive and strategically significant is the Hyunmoo 4-4, the submarine-launched ballistic missile variant tested successfully from South Korea's indigenous KSS-3 submarines in 2021, making South Korea one of the very few nations in the world to possess SLBM capability. And while South Korea officially does not have nuclear warheads, the very existence of a survivable sea-based missile that can be launched from underwater gives it a credible second strike capability, a message to Pyongyang that even if they attempted a decapitation strike against Seoul, retaliation would come from under the sea, unstoppable and devastating. The cost of integrating SLBMs into KSS-3 submarines is immense, with each submarine alone costing about $2.7 billion to build, and the missile R&D for SLBM variants costing billions more, while the maintenance of submarines carrying these missiles runs into hundreds of millions per year. But South Korea sees this as an existential investment, ensuring that it can never be blackmailed by North Korea's nuclear arsenal. Alongside these offensive capabilities, South Korea developed the KAMD, Korea Air and Missile Defense, system and integrated Hyunmoo missiles into its kill chain strategy, meaning that the moment North Korean launch preparations are detected, South Korea can launch a preemptive Hyunmoo strike to destroy the missiles before they ever leave the ground, creating a real-time shield and sword combination that makes the peninsula one of the most militarized and technologically advanced regions in the world. The Hyunmoo program also represents industrial pride, with South Korea's Agency for Defense Development and companies like LG Nex 1 and Hanwha playing crucial roles, employing thousands of engineers, investing in advanced guidance systems, solid-fuel rocket technology, and stealthy cruise missile designs, which not only strengthens defense but also creates high-tech jobs and boosts the local economy. Internationally, the Hyunmoo series has drawn attention and sometimes criticism, with neighbors fearing that Seoul is escalating an arms race. Yet South Korea insists that it is purely defensive, pointing to North Korea's arsenal of hundreds of ballistic missiles and dozens of nuclear warheads, and the United States has gradually loosened restrictions, with the 2021 agreement between Seoul and Washington finally lifting all missile guidelines, meaning South Korea can now build missiles of unlimited range and payload, essentially opening the door to ICBM-level projects in the future if it so chooses, though for now Seoul maintains its focus on regional deterrence. Financially, South Korea spends around $50 billion annually on defense, nearly 2.8% of its GDP, and a substantial portion of that goes into missile development, maintenance, and deployment, with estimates suggesting that maintaining the Hyunmoo force alone, including warhead storage, missile bases, command systems, and upgrades, could be costing $1 to $2 billion every year. Yet the government and the people accept these costs because the alternative being defenseless against a nuclear-armed North Korea is unthinkable. The Hyunmoo Missile Series, therefore, is not just a weapon system, it is a shield of survival, a sword of deterrence, and a symbol of South Korea's rise as a modern, technologically advanced military power. And when we combine its massive financial investment, its ongoing maintenance expenses, and its strategic reach, it becomes clear why the Hyunmoo missiles are considered the most secret and dangerous part of South Korea's arsenal, a true hidden dragon ready to strike if provoked. And so, as we wrap up this deep exploration of South Korea's Hyunmoo Missile Series, its history, its cost, its maintenance, its budgetary weight, and its strategic role in the balance of power in East Asia, remember that this is Global Defense Zone, bringing you not just the headlines but the full story behind the world's most advanced weapons. And if you found this video informative and powerful, then don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Global Defense Zone for more high-quality defense insights, and share this content with your friends so we can keep bringing you the most detailed defense analysis on the internet, because the world of modern warfare is evolving every day, and here at Global Defense Zone, we make sure you stay ahead of the curve.